And Joe Biden is out, dismissed by the donors who run the modern Democrat Party. As for the millions of primary voters who chose Joe Biden, the deep state guardians of democracy, those acolytes of the fabled rules-based order, broke all the rules. For those following along at home, Joe Biden has been demented, or he's had dementia, for years now. This was conspiracy theory until roughly 2.5 days ago when mainstream media declared it true in the face of polling saying Joe would lose. At the moment, it looks like Joe's replacement is his insurance-y policy Veep, although there are murmurs that donors might replace her with somebody who is less annoying to voters, cackles, and all. So the first question is what this does to the election. My go-to is the betting sites, which are consistently more reliable than the so-called experts, and certainly more credible than media's gaslight polls. And crucially, they take account of cheating. In short, betting markets say Trump had 63% odds of winning against Biden, and now he has 62% against Kamala. So she's a slightly stronger candidate than a screaming dementia patient who sniffs kids, but just barely. Still, for now, it is Kamala for the nomination. Betting markets say 84%. So what would Kamala do to the economy? We don't have much from Kamala on the economy or the Fed, but what we do have says she is substantially to the left of Joe Biden. On the Fed, Kamala was one of just 13 senators, including Elizabeth Warren, to vote against Jerome Powell's nomination because he's not inflationary enough. As vice president, she mostly just pushed the Fed to focus on diversity. On the broader economy, she's mostly towed Biden's line as Veep, so we have to go pre-Biden. As senator, Kamala was rated by the nonpartisan GovTrack as the most liberal U.S. senator, to the left of Elizabeth Warren or self-declared socialist Bernie Sanders. She scored a 7% from the NRA and a 4% for Club for Growth, meaning she is a gun-grabbing tax hiker. The New York Times describes her as a, quote, pragmatic moderate, which means she is a raging communist. In the Senate, Kamala pushed left-wing causes from affirmative action to sanctuary cities to a $10 trillion climate change plan. She voted against Trump's tax cuts, and she voted against the USMCA rewrite of NAFTA because it didn't, quote, confront climate change. The one thing she has liked is the forever wars. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. We're in the biggest presidential succession crisis since at least 1968. We don't even know if Biden's of sound mind. So maybe Kamala will be president tomorrow, or maybe donors will dismiss her out of the race tomorrow. What we can say is that everybody currently on the radar on the Dem side will be as bad or worse than Joe Biden. There are still centrists in the Democrat orbit, like Joe Manchin, John Fetterman, or RFK, but with left-wing donors in charge, none of them are in the running. As for the economy and spending, if it felt like a runaway freight train with nobody in charge, now we know it is a runaway freight train with nobody in charge. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.